Shabbat Shalom, Chag Sameach. I'll invite you all to take a moment to rise and greet the people around you. Wish them a lot of good greetings tonight. Please be seated. So we come together tonight on this Erev Shabbat, and we are in this liminal moment, this seam moment, where we are concluding Pesach and welcoming Shabbat all at the same time. So just a word of edification. Reform Jews traditionally celebrate 7 days of Pesach, as it's written in the Torah, and that's in Israel, it's also observed for 7 days. Many diaspora Jews, conservative and Orthodox Jews, observe an 8th day of Pesach. So many of you are concluding tonight, that's me. Others of you are observing one more day, so tonight at our own egg, there will be food that is both kosher for Passover and challah, for all of you who are craving that. So as we think about the conclusion of Pesach, I open just with a question. What aside from matzah crumbs, a trail of matzah crumbs, what are we taking with us from this holiday into the days and weeks and months ahead? How has Pesach impressed its message upon our hearts? So we think about that as we turn to page 2 to welcome in Shabbat. And it's my pleasure to invite up Ryan Wohl and his family for the kindling of the Shabbat candles. Ryan will be called to the Torah as a bar mitzvah tomorrow.
Shabbat candles give light to all who will behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness remind us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kishanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel
And there was evening, and there was morning the 6th day. The heaven and the earth were finished, and all their array. On the seventh day God finished the work that God had been doing. And God ceased on the seventh day from all the work that God had done. And God blessed the seventh day and declared it holy, because on it God ceased from all the work of creation that God had done.
We turn to page 5 as David chants the Kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu, b'shabbat kodsho, b'yahava u'v'ratzon.
L'chaim.
L'chaim. Share the wine together. Maybe his first sip ever.
I don't know, we just had Passover.
Mazel tov.
We're supposed to have... You may be seated when you're ready. And we are going to turn to page 6 for this responsive reading. May the door of this synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love, all who are lonely for friendship.
May it welcome all who have cares to unburden, thanks to express, hopes to nurture.
May the door of this synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride, envy and enmity.
May its threshold be no stumbling block to young or straying feet.
May it be too high to admit complacency, selfishness, and harshness.
May the synagogue be for all who enter the doorway to a richer and more meaningful life.
And we turn now to page 12 for the chanting of L'chuna Ranana, the very same melody we sang as you came in tonight. Page 20 to greet the Sabbath bride, and as always on our final verse, we rise and bow to the entrance to greet her. Lecha dodi, come my beloved.
El hamiuchad Adonai echad
דברי כבוד אדוני, עלייך נגלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, ונשבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, ונשבת נקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצוהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, ונשבת לקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, ונשבת לקבלה.
We remain standing and turn to page 28 for our call to worship, the Baruch Hu. We remain standing and turn to page 31 as we read this interpretation of the Ma'ariv together in the English. This is an hour of change. Within it we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over?
Baruch atah Adonai, Hamariv Aravim.
And we turn to page 32 as we recite these words together of Ahavat Olam in Hebrew. Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael, Amacha Ahavta, Torah umitzvot, Chukim umishpatim, Otanu limadata. Al Kain Adonai Eloheinu, B'sholchenu uvkumenu, Nasiach bechukecha, V'nismach b'divrei Toratcha, uvmitzvotecha leolam va'ed. Ki hem chayenu ve'orech yameinu, uvehem negeh yomam v'layla, ve'ahavtatcha al tasir mimenu le'olamim. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. And our bar mitzvah will lead us in the chanting of the Shema as together we proclaim the oneness of God and the unity of all of us connected to God and each other.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Please be seated. בכל לבביך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, וחיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבביך ודיברתם בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, וחיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Excellent.
You can be seated. Mazel tov. So in a little under 14 hours, Ryan, you will stand at this very place as a bar mitzvah. Are you ready? Yes, we're ready too. Mazel tov to all of you. We're going to turn in our prayer books to page 40 for the chanting of Mi Chamocha. So today was the 7th day of Pesach, and this morning's Torah reading was this very portion where we chanted Mi Chamocha, just as Moshe and the Israelites did after crossing through the Sea of Reeds. And so as we think about that miracle that we just celebrated through the holiday of Passover, I wanted to share with you this reading about miracles. Why? Who makes much of a miracle? As to me, I know of nothing else but miracles. Whether I walk the streets of Manhattan or dart my sight over the roofs of houses toward the sky, or wade with naked feet along the beach just in the edge of the water, or stand under trees in the woods, or talk by day with anyone I love, or sleep in the bed at night with anyone I love, or sit at the table at dinner with my mother, or look at strangers opposite me riding in the car, or watch honeybees busy around the hive of an August forenoon, or animals feeding in the fields, or birds, or the wonderfulness of insects in the air, or the wonderfulness of the sundown, or of stars shining so quiet and bright, or the exquisite, delicate, thin curve of the new moon in May. These, with the rest, one and all, are to me miracles. To me, every hour of the light and dark is a miracle. Every inch of space is a miracle. Every spear of grass, the frames, limbs, organs of men and women, amid all that concerns them, all these to me are unspeakably perfect miracles. And so we reflect on all of those great and small miracles in our lives as we chant these words of Mi Chamocha. Kamocha, turn now to page 43 for the words of Hashkivenu, this prayer for a shelter of peace over all of us. And so we recite the words together. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, hapores sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. Turning to page 46, we rise for our central prayers, Hatfilah, also known as the Amidah, the standing prayer.
Adonai sefatai tiftachu fi gite hilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagidol, Hagibor v'Hanorah, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, v'Koneh HaKol, v'Zocher Chastei Avot v'Imahot, Umevi Geula livnei v'neihem, Lema'an Shemo be'ahava, Melech Ozer u'Moshia u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham v'Ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol atah Rav le'Hoshia. Morid hatah, mechalkel chayim bechesed, mechayeh hakol berachamim rabim, somech noflim verofeh cholim, umatir asurim, umekayeh emunato lishenei afar, Micha mocha bal gevurot, umido melach, melech memit umechayem, umatzmiach Yeshua, v'ne'eman atah lechayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai, mechayeh hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kdoshim b'chol yom yelucha salah. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el ha'kadosh.
You may be seated. We turn now to page 57 for this interpretive prayer of the Ritzeh, and we pray these words together. You are with us in our prayer, our love, and our doubt, in our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still, clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. Baruch atah Adonai, she'odcha levadecha b'yirah na'avod. And we pause for some silent moments of reflection.
continue with a prayer for peace, Oseh Shalom, on the bottom of page 62. Oseh Shalom bimromav, uyaseh Shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imeru amen. Oseh Shalom bimromav, uyaseh Shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imeru amen.
Our prayers go to those who are in need of healing, whether it's healing of the body or healing of the spirit. So we're going to turn to page 253 for the Mishaberach prayer. If you have a loved one who is in need of a prayer, or you yourself are in need of a prayer, please rise and share that name with our congregation. And as my hand passes over, you can share with us. Thank you. Thank you, Max. Thank you, Steve. Judy? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Michelle? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We think about all of them, as well as the names that are listed in our program that have been submitted to us by members of our congregation of their loved ones who are in need of a prayer of healing. We think as well of our Israeli and American soldiers who are being held captive or are missing in action, and we send prayers of hope and healing to all of them and all of you as we join together with these words.
Middle of 253. Mishaberach avotenu bekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before
going to turn now to page 278 for Sfirat HaOmer, the counting of the Omer. We are in this unique stretch in our Jewish calendar between Pesach and Shavuot, and we count starting from the second day of Pesach to Shavuot, 49 days. In fact, the festival Shavuot means weeks. It is 7 weeks from Passover to Shavuot. And the linking of these two holidays reminds us that we weren't redeemed from slavery simply to be free, but we were redeemed to be in relationship with God, to have this covenantal relationship marked by the giving of the Torah on Shavuot. And so this is our first week of the counting of the Omer, and we say together, I am ready to fulfill the mitzvah of counting the Omer. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sfirat haomer. Hayom shiva yom shehem echad shavuot laomer. Today is the 7th day, which is the first week of the Omer. And now I'm going to call up Mark Baranek to say just a word before we call up our friends who will be leaving for the March of the Living shortly, along with Mark.
Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Rabbi. On this coming week, a number of thousands of students, of teens and adults from all over the world will be gathering together in Poland for the March of the Living. The March of the Living is a program that was started in 1988. Here, actually, in Miami, was one of the centers of that beginning, started by someone named Gene Greenswag, Zichrono Levracha, and Miles Bunder, and it is a program where teens from all over the world get together in Poland. They go to a number of the cities and camps, the concentration camps and death camps in Poland. They're there for Yom HaShoah. They participate in a ceremonial march which commemorates, it sort of symbolizes a death march, and they march next Thursday from Auschwitz to Birkenau. It's about a 1.5 mile march. And to see thousands of teens and adults in these beautiful blue jackets with white Magen David on them is a very powerful image. The trip doesn't end there. The next week they're in Israel for Yom HaZikaron and Yom HaAtzmaut. So these kids who have witnessed these terrible things in Poland now see the rebirth of the Jewish people by being there for Israel's Memorial Day, the following Wednesday, and then Yom HaAtzmaut, Israel's 71st birthday. And there they celebrate. It's a powerful, impacting experience. We've been honored to send kids for many years. This year we're sending 13 teens from Temple Beth Sholom. Michelle Berger is going along as one of the adults, and she's the chair of our local march. And Kenny Ratson is going to be the doctor for the teen group. This is my 21st time going since 1992. And so we're honored. We thank Jeff and we thank Rabbi Pomerantz for their leadership in making sure that any teen from Temple Beth Shalom that wants to participate in an impacting experience like this always gets to go. So thank you very much, Rabbi.
Thank you, Mark. You should stay up here. We're going to call up all of the teens and adults who will be joining Mark in the March of the Living to please come up for a blessing.
Onto the bima.
So you're about to have a very powerful experience together, so I'm going to ask you to put your arms around each other. The rabbis instruct us that when we are telling the Passover story, we have only one rule, which is that we need to move from genut l'sheva, which means from degradation to glory. That is the paradigm for the telling of the story of our ancestors from slavery to freedom. You, my friends, are going to live through a modern-day experience of genut l'sheva, from the degradation of the persecution and horrors of the Nazi death camps to the glory of the redemption of the Jewish people in the rebuilding of Israel. My prayer for you is that while you are in Poland, that you have an open heart, that you truly feel when we say my ancestors were slaves in Egypt, that you truly feel that experience of suffering that left such an impact on the Jewish people, and that you carry that with you and let it sensitize you to the suffering of others, and that when you enter Israel, that you do so with redoubled efforts and commitment to protecting Israel and to aligning yourself with Israel and working to make Israel a democratic Jewish homeland. Baruch atah bevoecha, baruch atah b'tzeitecha. May you go in peace, and may you come back in peace, and may God bless you in your coming and your going. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you all. You're going to stay up here because we're going to have a moment of Shehechianu. We have a few special occasions here tonight. One of them is our bar mitzvah, so I invite the Wall family to please rise and join them on the bima. Do we have anybody who is a guest in our congregation, a first-time visitor that you're here? Please rise. Welcome to both of you. Thank you. If there's anybody in our congregation that is, no, stay standing. Stay standing. If there's anybody in our congregation that is experiencing a simcha of some kind, an anniversary or a birthday, now, and I'm going to just publicly kvel, because this is my daughter's last day of medical school, and in 2 weeks she becomes a doctor. So come on, please rise. You got to rise. The whole family rise. Now, nobody else has something to celebrate, a birthday, an anniversary, a graduation, a new job. We welcome our new executive director, Tracy Kramer. Now I'll invite anybody to rise who is very happy to eat hummus at the end of Passover. You're not happy to... Anybody now who is grateful to be alive, please rise. We're going to join together in the singing of Shehechianu, thanking God for enabling us, each one of us, to be here today. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. I invite you all to stay on the bima. We're going to turn to page 282, and I ask the walls to open that ark and our teens to open this ark.
Guys, go ahead.
And if there's any
We're ready for
kids
you.
on the bima, any kids in our congregation who want to join us up here, come on up. Anybody?
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon ha'kol, לתת גדולה לעושה בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים
We take a few moments now to remember all those who came before us, those who may have died in years past at this season, and those who may have died in recent days. As a congregation, we remember the more than 6 million men, women, and children that were murdered in the Shoah. We remember all those who died in the struggle to reestablish the modern state of Israel, who've died since that time, making sure our homeland exists for us and for Jews everywhere. Remember all those who perished in the name of liberty, freedom, justice, and righteousness. And remember all the innocent victims of hatred, ignorance, terrorism, and natural disaster. On this Shabbat, we remember friends and family whose yortzites are being observed and whose names have lovingly been inscribed on plaques which are in our alcove of remembrance. We remember Harry Berlat, Bruce Paul Bowden, Abraham Bondareff, Adolph Bonham, Harry Cohen, Dorothy Davis, Alice L., Israel Feldman, Jenny Finkelstein, Sylvia Frankel, Edward G. Glasser, Sig M. Gluckstadt, Gertrude Goldsmith, Peter A. Goldsmith, Sherry Graham, Sidney Greenberg, Leonard Gross, Charlotte Hertz, Beatrice Hirsch, Henrietta Jonas, Marshall Karasik, Samuel Aaron Katz, Pearl B. Keaty, Natalie Singer Kellner, Milton Kellner, Gussie Clayman, Paula Cohn, Jacob H. Levine, Anna Lifshutz, Carl Lukshin, Herman Lowy, Florence Margolis, Bertha Davis Marks, Sarah Matz, Nat Meese, Norman C. Myers, Stella Hertz Nagy, Esther Nannis, Ruth E. Norton, Morris Perel, Herman Pomerantz, Taub E. Rabiner, Philip Radner, Irving Reingold, Selma Scissorek Rickles, Morris Rahm, Hermina Rosenthal Rosenberg, Sadie Rosenberg, Joseph Rajna Rosenthal, Francis Rossman, Sarah U. Russin, Rose Sachs, Simon Sandler, Rachel Ellen Schwartz Thornton, Samuel Siderman, Audrey Stoller, Lester J. Unger, Bernard Weinstein, Irving Weston, Stephen Samuel Wise, Anna Wicks, Howard Carl Rubel, Esther Zundel. And we remember as well friends and family whose yortzites are being observed at this time: Martin Berger, Lorraine Berlin, Phyllis Bloom, Robert Cooper, Carol Corshon, Jack Robert Corshon, Robert Mansfield French, Faye Geronimus, Jeanette Gold, Jean Goldstein, Albert Goodman, Philip Hare, Sylvia Persky Hart, Robert Jaffe, Mildred Kuttner, Ethel Rothline Langner, Rose Levine, Beatrice Milhauser, Ida E. Miller, Loretta B. Nagler, Eunice Alberts Nicholson, Anna Maria Olano, Rebecca Peshkin, Jack Polsky, Sarah Rosenberg, James Rothman, Jesse Circus, Jose Sumala Stein, Werner Stern, Leon Tracht, Jonas J. Unger, and Jenny Wax. We remember friends and family whose who have died in recent days, and their families are in the Shloshim, in the 30-day period of mourning. We remember Donna Diamond, Seymour Gelber, Nate Evans, Mark Howard Kramer, Andre Brito, Julie Soriano, James R. Sabatino, and Rabbi Paul Kaplan. If there's a name that I haven't mentioned and you're in a period of mourning, you're saying Kaddish, you have yortzeit, I'll ask you to please rise and mention those names out loud, and please remain standing as we're going to join for Kaddish in just a moment. Thank you. Zecher Tzaddik Livracha. May the memory of all the righteous in our lives be a blessing as we recite with one voice words of Kaddish, page 294. Please rise. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shmei rabbah, v'yalma divrach irutei v'yamlech malchutei, b'chai echon v'yom echon uv'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, b'agala v'izman kariv yimeru.
Amen.
Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach le'olam olamei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitroman v'yitnaseh, V'yitadar, v'yitalev, v'yitalal, shmei d'kudusha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, da'amiran b'alma v'yimru, amen. Yehi shlam araba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'yimru, amen. Osei shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'yimru, amen. May the source of peace grant peace to all of you mourn, comfort to all of you who are bereaved, and send healing to all who are saddened, as together we say, amen. Please be seated. Invite up Rachel Unger, a member of our board, to share greetings on behalf of the congregation.
Hi, good evening. Shabbat Shalom. So, Rabbi Pomerantz and Jeff, I'm going to ask for a little permission to talk about the board for a second. Thank you. I was going to do it anyway, but thank you. So, at board meetings, we pass around a clipboard giving us the opportunity to come and give announcements at services Friday night and at bar and bat mitzvahs. And I saw the clipboard go by, and I jumped at tonight because your name was on the clipboard. So I'm so honored to be here tonight as a board member to offer you Mazel Tov, a little in advance, but you're on the way to your bar mitzvah. Our history goes way back. With Miss Wall, as I call you, Jessica, was Max's teacher twice. I was your teacher once, and you also taught Ellie. And I love you all tremendously, so I'm really happy to be here. So Mazel Tov, I wish you well. This weekend will be incredible, and I can't wait to see all the pictures and hear all about it, yes. Also, it was another added benefit that I'm here the night that the teens are here that are going on the March of the Living, and I wish you a wonderful trip. I know it will be meaningful and emotional, and I also look forward to hearing about that as well. So, on to what my job is. Oh, and Hannah, congratulations. It's super impressive, and I can't also wait to continue following you in your journey as well. Okay, so take out your announcements, please, your little pamphlet, because I have a couple of things I would like to call your attention to. There's inside of the inside page, there's a page that says announcements. And there's two really great events that are coming up. May 14th, Sisters in the Hood and Brotherhood are doing a joint event. And what's better than drums and drinks? So everybody join us. It's May 14th. And May 15th, the next day, we'll be having a frank conversation about Israel in its 71st year of independence. So mark your calendars for those two events. And if you have any questions, you can see Mark Baranek, because he is open to tell you all about it. So thank you for having me tonight, and Mazel Tov to the walls.
Good announcements. For those of you who observe an additional day of Pesach, Chag Sameach. For those of you who observe the biblical, Israeli, and liberal observance of Passover, Shabbat Shalom. Somewhere in our houses or in our neighbor's house are the leavened products, the yeasty-infused crackers, the lofty loaves of bread, and maybe even a few cupcakes and brownies, all of which have been stored away, temporarily sold, hidden, or locked in a closet someplace. For 7 days, we remove the machmetzet, the yeasty inflation of our food, making way for the creation and consumption of the ambivalent symbol of matzah. It is both the bread of affliction. Some of you have already told me about that. Thanks for sharing those details. The bread of affliction, it's also the bread of freedom. Hametz, the yeast that makes dough rise, is called by one rabbi the sourdough starter of our ancestors. I remember my friend Doug, his mother's sourdough starter. It was part of the wedding gift she received from her mother when she got married in 1956. It had been in that New England family for generations, and sat in that refrigerator on South Leyden Street on the second shelf on the right. I lived in that house, and I knew well from that sourdough starter. That yeasty fermentation, I must admit, made me a little nervous. What kind of bacteria grows in something that has lived for so many years? That starter is, after all, only 1 year older than me. Rabbi Yehuda Prero says that the yeasty substance, the sourdough starter, leaven chometz, is not about matzah. Chometz represents our character flaws, the flaws that inflate us in such a way that we can transform from being soft, compassionate, loving. Instead, we get infused with haughtiness, jealousy, and unsatiated hungers. The leaven symbolizes puffiness of self, inflated personality, egocentricity, all of which prevent us from rising spiritually and moving closer to holiness. Rabbi Arthur Wasco calls this the swollen sourness of our lives. Others understood chometz, the leaven, to symbolize our yetzer hara, the evil inclination that we have within us, which is part of everyone's psychosocial makeup, psychospiritual makeup. The yetzer hara, this evil desire that we sometimes have, is counterbalanced by our yetzer hatov, this inclination that we have to do good. So, once a year, for a week, we intentionally, with a feather and a candle, search the corners of our existence for jars and vessels, corners and cabinets, which hold specks and mounds of self-inflating bacteria of the soul, which can, when unchecked, rise and become spiritually soured and overemphasized. In the Guide for Spiritual Readiness, chometz is described as the baggage we carry from broken dreams, failed relationships, and personal disappointments. It is the refuse of daily living, the residual stuff which emerges from a few poor decisions, an occasional mistake in judgment, and moments of moral failure. So what did you do with your chometz this past week? Did you hide it? Sell it? Give it away? Did you clean it? Burn it? I know some of you just kind of ignored it. Did you lock it in a closet? Dr. Tamara Green says, "Into what locked cabinet do I put all the pain and struggle that made my history so difficult?" What do we do with that stuff? Rabbi Israel ben Shabta Hapstein wrote, "Just as one removes leaven from the house by candlelight, we should strive to remove the evil that dwells within us by searching our hearts by the light of the soul, which according to tradition is called the candle of God." Dear friends, we've just spent 7 days with our chometz locked away. We just spent 7 days focusing on liberation and freedom. As we reemerge out of this festival of freedom, let us feel free enough to not carry unneeded, unnecessary, sour life with us. Let's leave it. Let's let it go. Let's let it migrate back to the Mitzrayim that exists out in the universe someplace. We don't need it. Let us free ourselves enough to say no when the leaven of laziness calls us to sit and do nothing when people are crying out. Let us feel free enough to be unburdened by the yeast of apathy and entitlement. And let us feel free enough to live a life which welcomes the best within us, and let us make room for nothing else. Let us let that leaven not enter back into our lives. Ken Yehi Ratzon, It will be through God's will, but it is only going to be through our actions and our behavior that we live a life without this haughtiness, without this inflation of our souls. Amen. Shabbat Shalom. And we're going to conclude our services this evening before we go out for a little bit of sweetness with a Don Olam. It's found on page 321. Let's rise. Without leaven. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Shabbat Shalom.